Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. We spoke earlier today to Scott Williamson, CEO of Blackstone Minerals, an ASX-listed miner chasing nickel in Vietnam, amongst other places. And if you want our thoughts and opinions on the conversation and indeed the company itself, you can find that at cruxinvestor.com/club, where you can also find detailed company reports, commentary from market experts from around the world on a variety of commodities and companies, training videos. There are summaries of other interviews that we've done, and there's a thriving community of investors sharing their thoughts and ideas with each other. And if you go there now and sign up for the waitlist, you qualify for a 7-day free trial. Of course, we'd love your feedback too. So do give us a like, leave your comments below. And if you want to see what we talked about, take a look in the description below. Scott Williamson, how are you, sir?
Yeah, good, thanks, Matt.
You're looking good. I like your black suit on the black background. You thought about this. You're taking this interview seriously. How are things over there?
Good, thanks. Yeah, it's an interesting market. It's we're in boom times over here in Western Australia, and it's a great time to be in the mining sector again. So yeah, we're very happy.
Yeah, well, these are moments we live for. We just need to get this US election thing out of the way. I think everyone, given a bit of certainty as well, would help. Okay, well, why don't you kick off? Give us that 1-minute overview of the business, and then we'll kind of pick it up from there.
Yeah, no worries. At Blackstone, we're looking to restart and rebuild the Tak Wan nickel sulfide district in northern Vietnam. So that was a previously operating mine between 2013 and 2016. This time we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to push this into a downstream product for the lithium-ion battery industry. So the reason we've come in and I suppose acquired this asset is we have a strong relationship with our partner EcoPro, which is the largest cathode manufacturer in South Korea. So it was actually EcoPro that said to us, can you go and look for nickel sulfide? And yeah, we've found a great little asset in northern Vietnam and are looking to push it back into production over the coming years.
Okay. Look, we've talked about your business plan previously in other interviews that we've done, so I won't go over that old ground. But just want to talk about the scoping study. Market reaction being a bit mixed. What was your take?
Yeah, well, I used to analyse mining stocks for a living, and I thought it was going to go up, so I was wrong. But it's a bit of a I suppose transition phase between explorer and developer. There's a lot of people that were, I suppose, interested in our stock for the exploration. We will continue that exploration success, but it's for me, it's about moving this mine back into production. That's where we're going to really drive significant value. So yeah, it's that typical cycle of explorer to developer. Unfortunately, not everyone there for the development story. We're obviously keen to pull this back into production, but yeah, maybe there's some people that are just there for the shiny rocks.
Yes, I mean, so talk to me about the people who actually did the scoping study for you. I mean, what's their track record? Have they built mines before?
Yeah, so we've got a number of groups. So this is a team of independent consultants. We've got the team at Simulus. They're a hydromet specialists. So these are guys that have worked in hydrometallurgy their whole careers, and they've worked on nickel laterite, HPAL plants, and so they have a long history of working and operating these mines. So very similar to what we're looking to build. So yeah, the Simulus group are specialists in the hydromet space. So we're very happy with Simulus. We've also used an independent review process with a group called Optimize. So the principal there is Ian McKenzie. So he was the independent sort of review of the overall process, and he spent over 10 years at Lycopodium. So we're very confident we've got a team here of consultants, independent experts, and we're going to push these guys through to the next stage because we're very confident in their ability to deliver.
Okay, so the numbers are what the numbers are, but you base that off of $8 nickel, $7 today. So why give us that forward-looking number?
Yeah, it's always a tough one. Like to headline, do you headline with the spot price on the day? If we had a headline with the spot price on the day, it's already out of date. So we obviously try to choose a price that we think will reflect the timing of when this mine is built. So we've used the consensus average of the I suppose broker average on the street, Today we're around $7. Where we've shown the sensitivities around the nickel price. So at today's nickel price, we're sort of looking around $500 million on an Australian dollar term. So we have shown all the sensitivities from $6.50 through to $9.50, and obviously, very well leveraged to the nickel price. So we obviously thought long and hard about which price to headline with, but we think that's where it will be when this mine goes into production in 2023.
Okay, so what I'm struggling with is how do you get this thing financed? The capex number is huge, right? It's significant, and anyone financing this is going to discount your numbers. They're going to discount the price of nickel. They're going to discount your ability to produce, and they're going to look at this thing and say, is this thing financeable? So why have you set it out with your consultants the way that you have?
Yeah, so until we establish the partnership with EcoPro, we will continue to consider this as a downstream and upstream overall project. We can split the two, so we can split the capex between the upstream and downstream. And the downstream is obviously where EcoPro are more focused on. So we're looking at a 50-50 joint venture with EcoPro on the downstream. So they will bring some capital to that $150 million required for the downstream. The 200 million, or let's say 150 to 200 million required at the upstream, we also have that ability to stage that through using the existing infrastructure. The reason we couldn't put those numbers in is that we're still drilling out those ore bodies that can go through the existing concentrator. So we drilled out the biggest ore body we could see, which is Ban Phuc, and that number reflects that ore body only. So what we believe we can do now is reduce that upfront capex by using the existing concentrator. So we've got a small concentrator on site ready to go, 450,000 tonne per annum. Obviously, the 60 million tonne beast that is Ban Phuc won't fit in that little concentrator. So we tried to use the existing infrastructure through an upgrade, but we very quickly realised that we're better off building a new one. So we looked at the 4 and the 6 million tonne per annum, and so we wanted to show the market there is flexibility on that new build, but we haven't been able to show the staged approach until we drill out Ban Chang and Ta Kung and others.
So should we not really be paying attention to this scoping study because it's not how you plan to go ahead? Well,
I would have thought those numbers would be worth paying attention to, but I'm an ex-mining analyst, so I look at NPVs and pull them back to capex and say, well, at consensus nickel price, that capex number is a half of the NPV. So I think that's definitely worth looking at. And we may go down that path, but if it's today's sort of sentiment and at today's share price, we will do what is in the best interest of shareholders, and we would minimise the dilution of the existing shareholder base. So that may change over the coming 12 months with movements in nickel price and market sentiment. So that is a base case. It's the highest capex that we would ever look at, but most likely we will reduce it.
Okay, well that's the point I'm getting to. Is what you will do and what you have laid out here are going to be probably two very different things. So, are you trying to get the balance between satisfying EcoPro, your partner, because they want to see a big project? They're not in this for a small project. And your responsibilities to shareholders, because if the shareholders, average retail guy looking at this going, well, how does this thing make money? Using $8 and it's not at $8 today. How do you manage that balance?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be long before we see $8. But anyway, the main focus of this announcement and this study is not really EcoPro. It's more about the institutional investor. So as you know, the institutional investor can't just buy shiny rocks and drill holes and all the stuff that the retail investors like. The institutional investor needs some base to look at their investment and to sort of form a view. And that's why it's very much focused on the institutional investor. And we believe that this will attract large institutional investment because there is not many of these types of opportunities around for the nickel to be producing into those downstream products. So we're very well positioned, particularly with the green angle, so the hydro grid power. There are not many opportunities like this in the globe today. And so the institutional investors, we believe, will wake up to this over time. It will take some time to digest these numbers, but this is the future of the industry. So I think it's obviously the first time that a junior mining company is pushed into these downstream products. This will become more and more the norm, and we'll see BHP and other major players like Jinchuan and Norilsk and Glencore and Vale, and they will all push in this direction. We're already seeing it with BHP. So this is the future of the industry, and we're leading the way. And we're confident with the help of EcoPro, because they're already doing this in South Korea. So it's not like it's a big leap of faith. We're working with the best chemical engineers or battery chemists in the world. So it's not, if it was something that hadn't been done before, we'd be worried. But this is existing technology that's being used in South Korea today.
Okay, so just explain to me, break that down a little bit more simply, if you may, again, for people coming at this new, or even for some of your existing shareholders. So rather than focus on the concentrate or the sulfate, you're saying we're looking at these precursor products. So what's the relationship between all of those in terms of moving downstream?
The products that's becoming very important in the nickel space is this MHP, which is a mixed hydroxide precipitate, which is a product that comes from a nickel laterite. So there's a lot of MHP coming from nickel laterites and particularly coming from Indonesia. And so what EcoPro have done is they've set up the ability to process MHP and convert it into the precursor product for the cathode. And then from that precursor product, you add lithium to produce the cathode. So that's a process that EcoPro is consistently doing and already has technology. So we as an industry are, I suppose, more competent on the first half of the process, which is the pressure oxidation. So pressure oxidation is a process used all through the mining industry. And for us to get the concentrate to an MHP, we believe that is a technology that is used day in, day out, all through the mining industry, and we're very confident of doing that. So that's why this is a great meeting point of the two industries. So as a mining industry, we can get the concentrate into MHP, and then EcoPro are competent in getting that MHP into the precursor. So it's a true partnership of the and joining of the two industries, and particularly from a technical perspective, we both bring technical expertise to that partnership.
Okay, so let's just talk about, if we can, the staged approach to the CapEx, because you've not just got Banfuk, you've got a number of projects after this, which, we haven't talked about in here, King Cobra, Banchang, and I'm going to get this wrong, Takuna? Is that close? And thank you, Una Patata, and you've got some MSV targets as well. So there's a lot following behind this. So how do you look at this staging your capex rather than this big number you've presented to the market?
Yeah, so the existing concentrator is well suited to these small ore bodies, similar to what the previous owners mined. So they mined a 1 million ton ore body. It was 2.4% nickel, 1% copper, some cobalt. We have the opportunity to find many more of those. We've got 25 targets. We're just stepping through them. Banchang is the first one. Ta Kung is the second one. The reason we didn't focus on those initially is because they're only small. So they're 1 million tons versus we just drilled out the 60 million ton beast in Banfuk. So the 60 million tons is a great base load feed and what I've shown is economic. But we bring in the high grade early, we use the existing infrastructure, we can remove $200 million of capex and push that into year 3 or 4 when we're in cash flow, and that minimises dilution to the Blackstone shareholders. So it will give you a hit on NPV because there won't be as much nickel going through the downstream. So you'll still only produce maybe 10,000 tonnes per annum nickel versus our bigger mine can do up towards 15,000 tonnes per annum. So it will be a bit smaller mine initially, so there'll be a small NPV hit, but the idea being that NPV per share is maximised.
So talk to me about the money that you've just raised. Where are you seeing that being applied to, and what's the order of play here? Because you kind of explained the importance and the order of the assets, but what are you going to be doing with that cash in terms of the drill bit and creating some value, or even some understanding the market about how you're going to go about tackling this?
So we're sitting around $28 million. A significant amount of that will have to go into the bankable study. So in the order of sort of $5 to $6 million towards the bankable study. So that leaves us a significant amount also for exploration. So we will have hopefully the majority of that will go into exploration as well and unlocking these other opportunities. So yeah, the bankable study in the order of $5 or $6 million, and then that and more will go into exploration. So yeah, there's a lot of spare capacity in our cash position to unlock more high-grade nickel.
Okay, we look forward to seeing. And when's that kick off?
Yeah, so it's still 6 rigs at the moment. We're looking to put in another 2. Hopefully by Christmas we might even have more. So we're drilling Ban Chang, we're drilling Ta Kung, we're still drilling King Cobra. We're about to start the next ore body as well. So we've got Ban Kwa, we've got King Snake. Ideally, we want to be drilling as many of these ore bodies as possible to feed into that pre-feasibility study in late Q1. So yeah, we've kicked off the PFS, but as we bring in these new ore bodies, they will be added to that pre-feasibility study.
Okay, because you haven't put out any drill results since the end of July, so now's a new phase of drilling. We can expect to see a lot more results coming through over the next few months. Yeah,
so very active in the drill phase, but also we don't want to announce every drill hole. We're moving into that phase where we're looking to the next resource and adding tons into the mine plan, and so we need to remove ourselves from that day-to-day one hit. Here's the next hit. Here's the next hit. It's we'll batch them up and we'll put them into the market. But what we can say is that it's more of the same. And if it was anything that's different to what we've already been drilling, then we'll show that. But it's just very consistently hitting massive sulfide. So we're confident that we will add tons and grade, and then obviously that will flow through to an improvement in the scoping study numbers.
Okay, fine. So when would you sort of make the next big announcement, given that you're kind of batching this data up together?
Yeah, so I think hopefully over the next few weeks, yeah. So we have had some delays at the lab associated with this gold mining boom really in WA. So we send all of our assays to Perth, there has been a lot slower since everyone else started drilling. The labs are definitely under the pump, but we'll batch them all up and throw them in the next few weeks.
Brilliant. Okay, and back to the raise. You've got a new institution in there, Fidelity. I think Delphi also followed their money. So you must be pleased. Are you trying to change the registry to be a little bit more institutional?
It's a natural sort of progression, and I think we don't want to sort of say no, that we're not going to continue to give exploration excitement. We're driven by discovery as the retail investor is as well. So nothing excites us more than every time we hit massive sulfide, but it just means we won't be doing it as often because it's not now about de-risking this to become a mine. So and the likes of Delphi and Fidelity, they're not focused on drill hole to drill hole. They're focused on, okay, well, how do we improve on that scoping study? So every time we hit something that's going to really change the numbers, we will let the market know.
Okay. And when did you raise the money, before the scoping study came out or after?
So yeah, it was before the scoping study, which is, I think, unheard of really, to bring in a group like Fidelity pre-scoping, pre-resource. They were really focused on the theme, and which is this movement into the downstream, and the fact that we can produce a green product, and the fact that we've got this ability to work with our partner EcoPro. So they were focused on the theme. They knew that over time we would continue to deliver. And so they came in, and it was great to be able to get them pre-scoping. In hindsight, it was a bit of a blessing. We didn't know which way it was going to go, and it went the other way. So great opportunity for institutional investors to come in at a lower price now with the numbers and with the cash to de-risk it.
So you didn't get a phone call from them after the scoping study came out going, what's going on here then?
No, they're not too worried about the day-to-day fluctuations in the share price, as you would know. So one of the largest institutional investors in the world, they're looking at a long-term investment here. So as long as in 12 months' time we're much higher, so that's probably more important is at least a minimum of 12-month view. So yeah, let's see where we land in 12 months.
Okay, so just final question then is, so in 12 months' time, what does success look like for you? What will you have achieved?
Yeah, well, we're getting very close to a bankable study, and so that's where we really show the market this is real. So we will go all the way through to a bankable in late 2021. So that's success to me, is a bankable study with the funding that comes with a bankable study as well. So getting very close towards funding and building. So yeah, it's a big year, and today's announcement is a great step towards that. So we've brought in some great experts in their field. So we've brought the mine manager from the newly found mine down the road. He's been in country 10 years. So we're bringing in strong, competent technical people. Andrew Strickland I've worked with before. So we've now got the team to build this. And so we're not too worried about what the market thinks. We're going to go and build this, and then we'll see where the nickel price, not so much the nickel price, but where the share price is when we start to build this.
Okay. And you think any lessons learned about how you're going to present the BFS numbers from the reaction you've seen on this from this scoping study?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the precursor has taken a little bit to understand, and that's why we wanted to throw it in there early, so that by the time the bankable study is, everyone will understand what a precursor means. There is obviously a lot of technical detail in there. We didn't want to remove the technical detail because we have nothing to hide here. We wanted to show that there's some very strong, competent work being done by our consultants. So I don't think I'll strip the technical detail back. We'll obviously try and make it easier to digest, but it is very difficult in these times of ASX compliance, and it's something that we have to deal with. But we've learned a lot, but I'm still a little bit unsure why it didn't go up, but we'll see. Over time, we may see much higher levels, hopefully.
No, I know you say you're unsure, but you must have had some sort of feedback. What are the sorts of comments you were getting about it? Because again, it's all like I say, you've got a very complex scenario here. You've had to lay out one plan, but the reality is you'll probably deliver it in another way. So it's difficult. I get it, but you must have some sort of sense of why people sort of knee-jerked in the way that they did.
Yeah, so I think there were people in the market that were expecting that staged approach, which we will look at and we will show. So that was probably one thing. And then that staged approach would have reduced the upfront capex. So the upfront capex obviously scared a lot of people. We will look at that in the next stage of studies, but we needed to get something into the market so that people can understand where we're heading and all the good work that we've already done. So I don't think we would have. There's no way we could have delayed the scoping study. It was important to get those numbers in the market. Obviously, they weren't well understood, but that's fine. We've got 12 months before a bankable study, and we believe by that point the market will understand where we're heading.
And you've got the money to do it. Brilliant. Scott, thank you very much. Thanks for explaining it and laying it out. I think that kind of demystifies it, certainly for me, and I hope it does for a few other people too. So congrats on what you've done so far. Good luck with the drilling. Stay in touch. Let us know how you get on.
Thanks, Matt.